Donald Trump has told a rally at a U.S. steel plant in Pennsylvania that he intends to double U.S. steel import tariffs to 50%. Donald Trump says that he plans to double tariffs on foreign steel from 25 to 50%, a move that could have major ripple effects for Canadian businesses.
We are going to be imposing a 25% increase. We're going to bring it from 25% to 50%, the tariffs on steel into the United States of America.
It was not a press release. It was not a diplomatic briefing. It was a rally. And inside a steel mill in the heart of Pennsylvania's Rust Belt, history was made. On May 30th of the year 2025, the 47th President of the United States took the stage and detonated one of the most aggressive trade moves in modern U.S. history. Donald Trump, standing before a crowd of cheering steelworkers and draped in American flags, announced not one but two seismic decisions. First, that the United States would double its tariffs on foreign steel and aluminum to 50% effective in 4 days. Second, that Japan's Nippon Steel, one of the largest steel producers on Earth, had agreed to a so-called blockbuster investment, a $14 billion deal to preserve American jobs, modernize American plants, and, in Trump's words, ensure that U.S. steel remained under American control. The timing, the tone, and the magnitude of the announcement sent shockwaves around the world. Trump's trade war is not cooling. It is accelerating, and in its wake are global supply chains, foreign governments, and American industries scrambling to react. At the center of it all is steel, a product that built America, but in 2025 is now at the center of an economic and political hurricane. Before we continue, hit that like button to help us beat the YouTube algorithm and to show your support. Let us begin with the tariffs. For months, the administration had hinted that a major escalation was coming, but few expected a move this drastic. As Trump took the stage at U.S. Steel's Irving Works plant near Pittsburgh, the crowd of 1,600 union workers erupted in chants of USA even before he spoke. What followed was a direct economic offensive. We are going to bring it from 25% to 50%. The tariffs on steel into the United States of America. Trump declared nobody is going to get around that. The new duties, he said, would apply to all imported steel and aluminum, and they would begin on June the 4th. His justification, national security, his tone, absolute. This was not a proposal. It was a declaration of war on foreign steel. The president invoked Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act of 1962, allowing him to bypass Congress and impose tariffs unilaterally in the name of national defense. Critics call it executive overreach. Trump calls it common sense. This is about defending our steelworkers, defending our economy, and bringing our factories back, he told the crowd. Economists and supply chain experts immediately warned of inflationary pressure, supply constraints, and international retaliation. But Trump dismissed those concerns. In his view, the only ones who would feel pain are foreign competitors and political elites. No more shoddy steel from Shanghai, he added. We are rebuilding with Pittsburgh's strength. Before we continue, hit that subscribe button to show your support to the channel. But if the tariff hike was the blunt force, the Nippon Steel announcement was the precision strike. Just moments later, Trump turned from punishment to partnership. He unveiled a $14 billion agreement between U.S. Steel and Japan's Nippon Steel, an acquisition of historic proportions. In Trump's words, it was not a foreign takeover, it was a partnership. You're going to stay an American company, he said, addressing the workers directly. But we're going to have a great partner in Japan. The message was that this deal would not outsource control, but bring in investment while maintaining U.S. sovereignty over one of its most iconic industrial brands. Nippon Steel, for its part, has committed to massive spending, $14 billion in total, with up to $4 billion allocated specifically for plant modernization. According to Trump, Every blast furnace currently operating will remain open for the next decade. No layoffs, no shutdowns, just upgrades, pay raises, and a $5,000 bonus for every employee. Whether those promises hold up remains to be seen, but for the workers in the room, the mood was electric. The United Steel Workers Union, however, is not celebrating yet. In a statement released hours later, the union's president, David McCall, said they were still deeply concerned about foreign ownership of U.S. steel. Issuing press releases and making political speeches is easy, he said. Binding commitments are hard. The union has demanded legally binding guarantees that jobs will be preserved, that no American operations will be relocated or shuttered, and that the new ownership will respect existing labor agreements. So far, they have not received them, and while local leaders expressed cautious optimism, national labor groups remain skeptical, and they are not alone. Across the Atlantic, the European Union called Trump's tariff escalation deeply regrettable, warning that the EU would impose retaliatory measures if the United States refused to roll back the increase. A spokesperson in Brussels said they were preparing a list of American exports to target, including motorcycles, bourbon, and agricultural products. The list will go into effect automatically by mid-July unless a diplomatic solution is reached. Germany and France have both signaled their support for countermeasures. The threat of a new transatlantic trade war is real and rising. In Japan, the government is walking a diplomatic tightrope. Nippon Steel's vice chairman Takahiro Mori praised the president, saying the deal would not have happened without Trump's leadership. But behind the scenes, Tokyo is nervous. Japan is now both Trump's trade partner and his latest tariff victim. Its exports to the United States, many of them in steel, are about to become 50% more expensive overnight. Japanese officials are pressing for assurances that their companies will not face broader penalties, but the administration has so far declined to grant exemptions. In China, the response was immediate and incendiary. The Chinese Foreign Ministry accused the United States of violating recent trade agreements. Beijing warned it would retaliate, possibly with new tariffs on American goods. They also accused the US of economic bullying and threatened to slow exports of rare earth metals, critical materials used in everything from smartphones to electric cars. Some of those metals have already seen delivery delays, according to US automakers. The risk of escalation is now palpable. And what about the markets? Initially, the announcement rattled investors, but by the close of trading, US Steel's stock had jumped over 20%. Cleveland-Cliffs, another major US steelmaker, saw its shares climb 26%. Wall Street, it seems, is betting that higher tariffs will protect domestic producers, at least in the short term. But economists warned that the downstream effects could be brutal. Construction costs are expected to rise. Automakers are projecting multi-billion-dollar losses, and companies that rely on steel from appliance manufacturers to packaging plants will be forced to raise prices or reduce output. Even some of Trump's allies are urging caution. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce released a statement calling the tariff hike well-intentioned but risky. They warned that the higher costs could reduce American competitiveness, hurt consumers, and trigger retaliation that would do more harm than good. Governors in several Rust Belt states have echoed that concern, asking the administration for carve-outs or support funds to help local businesses weather the impact. But for Donald Trump, the move is more than economic. It is symbolic. He is telling voters, especially in manufacturing heavy swing states, that he is willing to take on anyone, China, Japan, Europe, even US courts to protect American industry. The optics are powerful. The rally, the workers, the flags, and the promise that after decades of decline, American steel is rising again. Whether that promise holds depends on what happens next. The final details of the Nippon Steel deal must still be approved. Trump has said he will review the agreement personally before signing off. If he objects, the entire $14 billion merger could be blocked. The tariffs, meanwhile, are scheduled to take effect in just 4 days. Retaliation from the EU, China, and others could begin as early as mid-July. And the legal challenge to Trump's use of emergency tariff powers is far from over. The administration has already filed an appeal, so the next time you see the price of your car jump, remember May 30th. The next time your construction project runs over budget, remember May 30th. The next time you hear a politician talk about bringing jobs back, ask what the cost will be and who will pay it. Because in 2025, the cost is not theoretical. It is tariffs, it is lawsuits, it is supply chain collapse, it is global, and it is happening right now.